Got my first car. It's an amazing day. Got the key, and the year of the open road is already on a good path. I'm really excited about this. Definitely gonna take a trip here within less than a month, and I hope to take you guys with me. Probably something that we should never be doing is vlogging and driving, but I'm doing that anyway because I can't contain my excitement. Yeah. I am sitting at a red light right now, and I just figured I'd turn the camera on, you know, get some extra screen time, whatever. And yeah, this car is amazing. I love that it has a backup cam. That was like one of my requirements that I wanted, and yeah, it's amazing. And it has like one of them digital speedometer things. So it's a 2015, like I had mentioned earlier in the video. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this camera down before, well, you know, something bad happens. So. Happy birthday to me! 21 tomorrow. Yeah, we're about to dive into the story about me leading up to the drastic change in my life. This could potentially get emotional.
Life have lazy levels at times. I actually thought it was nice to get involved in something, like even like from someone who I hang out with who lives miles and miles away from me. And I mean, knowing that it's involved many other people along with it too, I think that's what's pretty cool about it overall.
Well, to be honest, sometimes I feel like just living life is like super demanding in a way, because I just always have so many different things going on between, you know, daily struggles with like my OCD and that kind of stuff, to just, you know, going through like PTSD, trauma of the past, that kind of stuff. So oftentimes it can feel like just living normal life and doing the stuff I have to do can be like super demanding and super like a big struggle for me. To do this extra project honestly was really fun, and initially like it really felt like, oh, this is something else I can do, something that kind of pulls me out of that awful, just stuck in that feeling of stuckness and I can't do anything with my life, and it felt really cool. And even though it was a project that was totally different from anything I've done before, it was just really a fun thing to do. It was good to get out of my comfort zone, if you will. And I would have loved to have continued with it, I guess, consistently, but you know, life, you can't really predict it sometimes, and it does things you don't expect. It goes places you don't maybe even want it to go, but you can't really do anything about it either. So as time went on, you know, I kept trying to find time to do more of the project, and life kept getting in the way. One day I have this, one day I have that, I have to take this person to there, I have to go for this, oh, I caught COVID, the hurricane hit my house, blah blah blah, just a million things. And it's you tell it to someone and it just sounds like, oh, they're just spouting excuses. Oh yeah, a lion ate my homework, whatever, you know. That is the kind of life that I have been living.
Okay, ready? And go.
Hello?
Oh wait, shit, hang on, I looked at the camera. Okay, go.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing? Or, fuck.
Hey, how are you?
I went into my natural, okay, fucking hell. Alright, and go.
Really nice. I can't think of any time where everything was turbulent or anything like that. And like even when I was supposed to get my shit done, like, you know, you weren't like all, you were never, you know, what's the word? Pushy. You were never pushy. That's it.
Well, to me, that question is kind of like saying, what is it like working with your best friend? And I haven't had many friends in life, and I would probably consider Ryan to be one of my best. It's like I want to say all my friends are my best friend, but Ryan has kind of felt like a brother to me in a way, which might sound weird to say considering like we've never met each other and he lives on the other side of the country. Ryan is a good guy. He's a very good guy. He's a very, I'd say he's a very good leader because he really like organizes people very well, and he's always very respectful and kind of other people's viewpoints and stuff. And but he's like a doer. His motto was, if you want something you have to go get it. And of course, life, as I mentioned, gets in the way. Sometimes you can't always go get it necessarily what you want, even if it's like you try your hardest. Sometimes life just comes and screws you up. But it's that attitude of, I'm not going to sit here and do nothing. If I have a goal, I'm going to go out my best, give my best, and try to just to get it. I'm going to give everything I've got. And he has these great ideas, and he knows, he's like, you know what, he just gets everyone together. And he's like, I want to do this project. Would you want to do it with me? And he's kind of like the stage director, I feel like. It just is always like listening to ideas and viewpoints and working with the people that he's directing and stuff. And I think that's really good. So you're definitely a really good person to work with.
Assuming, I'm trying to remember if it was July or June where you put it on a hold for a moment. Otherwise, like before that, if you remember back in May, I felt completely off and was feeling I was having the shittest time at the time. And you were the first one to literally call me about it, so I think that was the only thing that went on, even though I didn't have to do anything at the time of it. So I don't think nothing really held me back from it. Well, otherwise, if I did have to do something, then that whole depression thing would have definitely got me back from doing it.
Well, it's kind of difficult to answer that because as I mentioned, I always wanted to do the project. I thought it was a really cool idea. And even though I'll admit I was a little bit nervous because acting when I mentioned like I'm a writer and I write stories and stuff. I've never actually acted them out though. So that was it was a little bit scary because I'm always like, oh my gosh, I'm on camera, I look like crap, help me. But for the longest time, in a way, it almost felt like no, how do I put this? I think it was more towards like the end of the project that I began to feel the need to step away, because I kept saying in my mind, like, okay, after this thing, I'm gonna go forward with it. After I get over COVID, I'm gonna go forward with it. Oh, well, no, the hurricane's here. Well, after the hurricane's over, then I'm gonna go do it. Oh no, now my allergies are just as bad as COVID, or maybe I have a cold or something. I don't even know what I have, but it sucks. Well, after that's gone, I'm gonna go do that. And I think I applied that ideology a lot in my life in the past, with all the different traumatic things I went with. Well, after this is over, then I can move forward with my life. But that never happened because every day it's another thing. And so for a long time, I guess I kind of was saying to myself, well, after this, I'll go back to the project and I'll be able to do it and everything will be fine. And I might have had like one day here or there where I was able to like record some lines or record like a section or something or do some video and be like, okay, yeah, I'm getting back on track. But then the next time I'd be able to do it would be like months later or something. As time went on, the more time passed between each time, and I felt like I was holding up the story and stuff, and I didn't want to do that. And we kind of started like rewriting different parts and things like that. And I just kind of began to feel like I don't know if/when this seemingly endless stream of crap that I have to deal with is going to end. and I want to be able to like push through it and just do all this stuff anyways, but I feel like I just need maybe some time to step away from everything and just kind of just reevaluate where I'm at first without feeling like I have the responsibility of this and this and this and this and this that I have to do every day consistently and stuff. And so I guess it wasn't so much of like a specific I need to step away from this project so much as I just need to step away from everything in this crazy continuing thing of I have to do a million things and I can't think straight because I have a million other things I'm dealing with at the same time. So if I ever needed to step away from it, it was not just that in particular, but I guess a bunch of different things and just take a breather, if you will.
Just the fact that he's so get set to a project, and while also wanting this to be, I wouldn't say inclusive, but like that Minecraft series that's now not happening, where when you wanted me to mention you as a certain alias. I guess that was kind of the only thing that kind of like is like, oh, for fuck's sake, that kind of thing.
Everyone changes as they grow older, they mature and stuff. No one stays the same forever, but they still have their distinct personalities and stuff. And I think, definitely, Ryan, when you say that, you think of like a drastic change. It's like when you have a mosquito bite and you look it up on the internet and they show you like the worst possible scenario, you have to amputate the leg or something. It's not like that. He's still the same Ryan, I think, that I met back on YouTube in like, I think it was 2020 and stuff. I think he's become maybe, if anything, maybe more thoughtful and stuff, or just kind of deeper. Like when the project wasn't like working out the initial way that we had planned, and I could certainly understand, I want to plan out my days sometimes and I can't even follow that half the time. We were planning out like 10 years ahead with this project and stuff. What I really noticed is that when the project just started not really going the way that we wanted it to, not following the plan or getting it out on this schedule or whatever, Ryan really just helped, like, he started looking deeper and looking at the project from different ways and going back and saying, I think this could be better said. I think this could be changed for this. Maybe this is a good thing. Very adaptable,
Well, as mentioned before, that you wanted me to mention you as your last name, because I'm sure we talked about it before, but it's like you mentioned once like how it would be better if we didn't bring the project across, like in whatever aspect it is. But by you saying that you want to mention as GeneralDiamond is part of the project, it's like okay, like I feel that's kind of contradictory, if that makes sense. Like you're saying I shouldn't try to stretch the project over, but then you're getting me to use something that's part of the project in something of mine, if you get me.
I mean, concerned in the sense of I feared that I wouldn't be able to really do as much as I wanted to for the project, because like I said, I've already I'm not going to say a million times again, all the stuff I'm going through, but like, I wanted to really give my all and do as best as I could with this project and say all the lines and really give life to the story and stuff as best as I was able, and I was really excited for it. And I guess I was just worried. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little concerned, just from the start with all of that's been going on, and just saying like, oh, I hope I can do this, with all that's going on, both because it's something I've never done before, and just because even if it was something that I was totally used to and did all the time, just because if I don't know what the next day holds for me, and it could be something that kind of like completely throws a wrench into it, I'd have a concern like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And even like I said, I kept saying like, after this I'll do it, I'll be fine. But there was still a part of me that was like, what if I'm not fine? What if the next thing, right after this thing, another thing happened? I try not to think that way because I don't want to be like negative and just be like, yeah, everything sucks. But there is kind of important logic there, and preparedness to be had. I guess that was pretty much my main concerns. Whenever Ryan and I and whoever, we worked very, I guess, kind of pretty closely, I think, on like the scripts and stuff. And if ever I had a concern like, I'm not sure I want to say this, or I think I kind of want to rewrite this part, Ryan was always very like, super like, oh sure, whatever you want to change, let's go back and forth, let's talk about it, let's make ideas, so any concern I had in that regard was just always instantly taken care of in the best possible way.
Okay, Ethel.
Well, in a good way, for starters. I kind of really felt like, so I'm gonna go back in time a little bit to around the time I first met Ryan. And I've always kind of been more of like the introverted person, didn't really want friends, or if I did, I was like too shy to go and try and get them. But 2020 was kind of the year that I just kind of, for various reasons, I was kind of felt lonely, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of want some friends. And I remember like seeing some videos from Ryan on YouTube, and I was just like, I like never write comments because I always freak out, like, oh, what are people gonna think of me, that kind of stuff. It's a bad idea, by the way. Don't live your life based on what other people think of you. You're just gonna be disappointed because they will never be pleased with you, no matter what you do. But and there's no perfection here either. But yeah, I just kind of took a step out, and I just like wrote a comment, which probably sounds like nothing. People write 1,000 billion comments every single day, most of them with poor grammar and can't even understand what they're saying. But for me, it was a big step, and it seemed like it might seem like a small thing at the time, but it really led to this great friendship, starting just talking to Ryan on YouTube and on this radio show that he used to have. And then, I felt like, even when I first joined, I still kind of felt a little bit, like a stranger, because we just met and was, but over the years, and I've seen like, this friendship has really grown. And I remember something Ryan said to me on the first day we talked, which was, you and I are going to become great friends. And I feel like that really has happened, and it's something you look back at. It doesn't happen immediately, but now in 2022, a couple of years later, I look back and I'm like, wow, that just feels amazing. I have felt consistently, especially this year as our friendship has really progressed, I felt like I had a friend, which I never really had before, and I felt like I had someone that I could just call up and talk to every once in a while, and like tell them how my day was going, and just or what's going on in my life and something, and not be judged in a bad way or something. And the same way, I hope I could do the same thing for him. You can call me anytime you got a problem, you got something good, you got something bad, you just want to talk, call me up. Let's have a conversation. And that's something I've come to really, really value in a way I never thought I could.
We were laughing about minstrels, that's one. What else? I guess I cleared the first part of it, even though fairly much happened in the first episode. I guess, even though it was rarely at that point, well, I guess like drawing out layouts and storyboards, I think that was pretty good.
Again, I feel like I haven't talked like with Ryan as much maybe in recent times, at least the last few months, as I would have liked, or as of I have before, and like I said, that was no fault of his own or anything. That was just totally me and my own struggles and stuff. But honestly, every interaction that I have with Ryan is always good, I mean, one thing that really stuck out to me is he apparently called me right after the hurricane hit my area, and I didn't get his calls because we lost power for like a few days and I didn't have any internet or anything. But then like he called me, he was like sending me messages and called me again after we got power back, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you care. You care that much. Not that I thought that he wouldn't care, because he's a great friend and all, but I just thought it was really, really kind that he just like saw the hurricane on the news and he's like, oh, I gotta make sure Nick's okay. And that just really, really spoke to me and really, really meant a lot, because I haven't had very much of that, and a lot of friends and family have kind of just drifted apart, and sometimes I just haven't been either hurt by them or just felt like they didn't care. And just that little gesture might seem like a little thing, but to me it just felt like a really big thing, and that just really spoke to my heart. And I just thought, how blessed am I to have a friend like that? I just feel really, really good. My grandfather always used to, despite he always had like a million problems going on, he had dementia, and cancer, and all kinds of stuff, but the number one line he always repeated was, "How lucky can I get?" And that's how I feel right now. That's the way to be. And I just feel how lucky, how blessed can I get to have friends like these.
Putting together a series like Our Actual Lives that was actually a spin-off of My Actual Life, which both series were fake. Well, Our Actual Lives, yes, that's very easy to tell that it's fake and it's scripted and all that. My Actual Life, it had some reality in it, but I wanted to make something a little more interesting, so Our Actual Lives happened, and very thankful to have had my friends Harry and Nick be part of that. It was during a time when I really wanted to kind of branch and make other things that could go along with, the rest of what I was crafting as the entire story, which was going to be called Evolution to Success. We were going to have a huge, finale in 2030 where we basically reveal that, oh shit, hey, everything's VR, the word actual in the title, I was gonna, at the time of the finale or something, or, kind of start hinting more towards it, that it stood for, if I can remember it, it was artificial characters traveling upon artificial life, which, that already kind of points to, hey, nothing here is real, And then when I changed the channel name to Ryan ZR Productions, that was more to kind of show that the director was kind of taking over, the director, really me, wanted to kind of be a little more transparent, wanted to be more real with the audience, and I didn't know how to do that, so I was starting to go down a path where I was, it was to the point where I had so much pent up emotion in me, where I was so incredibly pretty much depressed because I had put myself in that hole. I knew it was coming. I knew that what I was doing was eventually going to break my whole being. And it did. But I kept going because I also had the fear of I don't want to let people down. And I also, I wanted to tell a story that would be impacting. I wanted to do something grand that would get the point across. But I drove myself insane doing so, and I've talked about it on my podcast, the very podcast. But yeah, no, we put that series together, and I ended up having to stop. I needed to break from it because it was killing my social life dead. It was not good. So I had to make that compromise. So whenever I want to replant that, I have to break the wall to do it? Are you kidding me?
I think you just have to break this.
In the time that I have known Ryan, the biggest thing that stuck out to me was that he was so committed to trying to make this thing a reality, which I applaud him for. And he was really, pushing for this thing to happen, and he was doing it, and it took him years, and it just, his work ethic, that's something that I've noticed. His work ethic is something that is you can't really compete, it's just when he has a passion for something, he just does it, and he just doesn't stop, and it's just it's inspiring to see that. But so yeah, that's what I've noticed. I've just noticed that he's been he's a very hardworking person, and that could also be something that could be a negative thing. Over the course of this past year, I have noticed a change in Ryan's behavior, especially when he realized that he was locked into the story that he created. He became almost in this depressive state where he didn't have the motivation or passion to create videos for the story anymore. And so I realized this, and I called him up and I made sure that he was okay. And I was like, you gotta do what you want, but you gotta stop this story because it's hurting you more than it's helping you. And I remember he tried to pick up the camera to try and film himself, and he said something along the lines of this is hurting me, and this isn't right for me, and I'm depressed over it. It was something along the lines, and I had to agree with him, because it was hurting him, and I just had this feeling that I had to be there for him somehow. And so we talked it out. We talked the whole thing out, and what he wanted to do, as a direction, what direction he wanted to take in terms of his content, and the fact that this isn't healthy for him. And so I became the bigger person, I guess you could say, and just kind of tried to guide him out of the depressive state that he was in from doing this content for so long. And so I just tried to help him out as best as I could with that. So I just wanted to be there as a good friend, and I know he needed it when nobody else really showed him as much support as I did. I called him up, I made sure he was okay, and that that you should do what you enjoy, rather it shouldn't feel like a chore, and it shouldn't feel like you're almost obligated to do this, when in the very beginning you started as a passion and something you wanted to build on, and now it's just kind of like eating away at you, and you're not passionate about it anymore. So it's not healthy for you to do it, to continue to make content like that. I didn't watch the entire stream, but I did skim through it, and I knew that it was hard for him to do, going out there and kind of just wrapping this whole story up and everything in a way that he didn't really want to, but he kind of had to for his mental health, to people who, some of the people who were watching were kind of, supporters of the story. I'm sure it was hard, it was hard for him to do that. And, I'm proud of him for going out and, saying all that on stream live to all those, to those people who were just as invested into the story that he was. So, it was hard for him. So, seeing that on stream, seeing him kind of, break down on stream, that was hard too, as a friend, to just see that over, something that he was so passionate about, but he had to stop doing for his mental health. It was hard. So, I applaud him for, taking the steps to better himself through this stream. Even if it was a hard thing to do, he had to do it. So I supported him when he did that stream, So it was just something that I'm very proud of him for, because I know how hard that is to almost, go up and say, that I'm ending this because, and, not in the way that I wanted to. So it was hard, it was hard to see him that way, but I knew it was the best thing for him to do.
Like, I need to reevaluate my mentality, my life, my my mental health. And I'm trying to calm myself down, because I don't want to tear up with this, because this is something real, guys. Like, mental health is fucking important, because that's the shit that keeps you sane. Like, take it, guys. Okay, for those of you listening to this or watching this, whatever the fuck, and I'll leave this up after I'm done streaming. Like, take care of your mental health. Seriously, this shit is nothing to fuck with. It's not. I'm going through something right now that I'm not even comfortable yet explaining. Maybe I will later on, if I decide to bring it up on the podcast at some point. But right now, I need to just let loose, and that's why that's one of the reasons why I actually started the podcast, the very podcast, was so that I could be me, be real, be authentic, be true to myself.
I'm a non-conformist. Gravity can go fuck itself, alright? This is how I live.
Because, like, I got that burnout of trying to tell this story and everything, and, just everything, it was such a weight on my shoulders, and breathe. I really feel like I lost touch with... I'm sorry. See, this is what I mean. I thank all of you, though, if you're watching this live or the recording, I thank you guys all for the support and everything ever since my my channel blew up, I guess. Well, I mean, it did in my eyes. It blew up. Thanks for everybody that has tuned into every video from there on and all the live streams as well. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate everything YouTube has done for me. You know, I wouldn't have met Harry or Nick if it wasn't for YouTube. YouTube will always be a big part of me. I started that shit when I was 13 years old. I'm 21 now. God. Again, I'm super sorry. Just... This is what I've been bottling up. I highly advise you not to do that. You see what's doing to me. This could be you if you do this. So don't let it happen. You are human. Put your emotions and feelings and your mental health first. Take care of you first. Because you have no idea how fucking important it is. Or hopefully you will now if you hadn't already. I have lost myself entirely. Huge thanks to everybody that I've met along the way, and huge thanks to the people that have helped me with everything. And it means a lot. It means the whole fucking universe to me. I have developed such a deep connection with this. With YouTube, with you guys, with the internet as a whole, because we've done so much together, you know, so many different series, so many, you know, videos, the gaming shit. We've hung out, we've BS'd, you know, late nights, just talking shit or whatever, you know. Not everybody's gonna live a great life. Not everybody will. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna be straightforward about it. Not everyone's gonna live a great life. Not everybody does. And, you know, that's why I was telling this story. The whole, like, the film itself, everything that we were leading up to with Our Actual Lives and The Devil's Execution, that final film was supposed to wrap everything together as the message being, be there for everyone. Have everyone's back, you know? Even if it drains all of us, we can still band together and fight the shit together. Because seriously, we are all going through some shit. And we all need to be there for each other. Because that's just how humanity is going to survive. That's how society is going to survive.
Hello everybody, welcome to the very podcast. I am your host, Ryan ZR, and I'm here joined with Walt and Harry.
Yo, what's up, boys? Welcome.
Go ahead and check out these guys' channels at the end, or right now, or while you're listening, or whatever the hell.
So here's the concept for this, right? So Ryan is supposedly gonna get shit-faced.
I had created the podcast because I was inspired by Distractable, hosted by Markiplier and his friends, Bob and Wade. But I was also looking for a way to be my real self and have fun. So the only way I knew how to do that at the time was to create a separate channel on YouTube that was completely disconnected from my main channel's content. I was desperate to find something that I could do that wouldn't cause me any stress and headaches and even burnout. So my co-host and great friend, Harry, and I live stream each episode weekly every Sunday and release the episodes on our audio platforms the morning after. The podcast was the best decision I'd made for the sake of my mental health. I love doing the podcast with Harry and the multitude of guests we've had on the show so far. In the time of my journey through the dark woods known as depression, I'd gotten very fortunate to have someone I'd met at work to help me. That'd be my other great friend that I also consider a brother. Without him, my social life would have still been a wreck.
Boring. No, in all seriousness, he's been a really good friend. At first, didn't like each other. I forget the reason sometimes, but yeah, started working at Fry's in March. Hated him, and then next thing you know, we started hanging out more. But he's been a really good friend. It's cool. A couple. Some of them involving intimate relationships. Even though I helped him break out of that, how would you call it, introvert shell to try and get to talk to girls, sometimes it just never worked out and he always felt bad, like it was his fault. But it really wasn't. And I know there was the whole EMT training thing that he struggled with in the beginning, but after several texts later, he finally changed his mind and decided to go through with the whole thing. But he's been through a lot, but he's overcome it. Overall, a great experience except for the beginning, you know, like I mentioned, just not liking each other, but eventually becoming really good friends. But overall, it's been really positive. Both had each other's backs. Just support. Just hanging out when we needed someone to talk to. Or just fuck around, shoot the shit, do whatever. First of all, identify what the problem is, because sometimes we like to think it's one thing, but in all reality, it's always an underlying issue that we find within ourselves that at the end of the day, we just really need to come to terms with it to better figure out what it is. And it never hurts to reach out to someone and just ask what they've been through. And their own experiences can help you figure out what you're going through, because as much as we like to feel we're unique, a lot of us have the same experiences. Definitely the night we spent with one of our coworkers, Lindsay, all night in a freaking park in one of the gazebos there, just playing games, you know, Cards Against Humanity, this really weird board mansion thing, and just really just dicking around. One day where we spent all day over at Arizona Mills, just walking in stores, browsing around, just doing whatever.
With everything I've been through this year, it's definitely been a struggle, but I'm here thanks to the people that I surrounded myself with. Harry, Nick, Walt, DJ, and many more that you guys don't know. But it's definitely been a hell of a year. Probably been at my lowest this year, and again, it's because of myself. Because I took myself down a road that I knew was not going to end well, but I did it because I felt the moral responsibility to continue, knowing it was going to break me, and eventually it did, so I had no choice but to let it go, because I did not like the way it was making me feel. I felt trapped, because the story, I had it in a way, I had it written in a way that pretty much locked me into only telling the story and not doing any other piece of content that I wanted to do. But then as soon as I accepted the fact that, you know, the story was just not gonna be doing anything good for myself, I stopped for my own health. Because if I didn't, who knows what would have been happening with me at that point. Who knows where I'd be. I started getting out of the depressive state, that depression shell, and I found the light at the end of the tunnel. And I walked right through it, and I started making content that I really wanted to make. One of them being the Would You Rather drunk video that I did with Tyler.
You know what? Honestly, yeah. I feel like maturity is always a big thing for people, as it is for me. With him, every year, and including this year, there has been a significant step up with just his outlook on life, his seriousness, his goals almost. A lot more realistic, you know, which I like to see. And overall, pretty positive in my opinion. Yes, absolutely. So absolutely, one of the biggest ones is that drunk stream, or not drunk stream, the drunk would you rather video we did together, and we'd been in a little bit of a contact window. We were on and off, but that video we were like, we're gonna do this, and we got into it. We were like, this. We had a plan. He had a shot glass, I had a measuring spoon or measuring cup, so we just went on it. And after that call, after the video that's posted on the channel, we sat in that call and proceeded to. I drank a little more, and it was just crazy. We went absolutely. We just talked about everything, and we hammered all the stuff. We hammered politics. We hammered gaming. We hammered cast. We handled how I was a crazy asshole. We covered how he was a little bit of a crazy asshole. It's not an extensive line. All in all, it was a good time. This is gonna probably be a slightly targeted dig, but I feel like he changes the narrative and his content way too much. I feel like the biggest thing he should do is focus on one thing and keep going with it, whereas I feel like we've been from GeneralDiamond to this is not in order. Ryan Radpool, Ryan ZR. It's kind of just a little bit everywhere. I just feel like he needs to streamline it a little bit more, but otherwise the content is good. No complaints there. Me and Ryan have known each other for a very, very, very long time, and we met through a friend, and we originally hated each other, but then that hatred, we became really, really good friends, and ever since then it's been on and off and on. Otherwise, knowing Ryan this entire time, I've learned that he's a very, very organized, good-intentioned man, no matter how crazy we both are. And at the end of the day, I just want to say he's been there by my side, and I love him.
From the start of this year to the end, it's been a hell of a journey, but it's been an important one. Thanks again to everyone that was there by my side and was always there to keep me company and guide me through my disaster. I'll always cherish our friendship and the viewers that continue to support the channel and everything I do. Even though I may not be a large channel, I'm grateful to have what I have and whatever may find its way to me in the future. Here's to another year.